Will Smallbone, thank you. Thank you very much for joining me.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on here, to be honest. And yeah, again, it's one of those scenarios where we don't always get the opportunity to speak to Premier League footballers. So again, thank you so much. What I've been doing with my pros and ex-pros, I've just been giving them a little intro. So I'm about to big you up, but
Nice.
just sit back and enjoy.
Yes.
So you signed your first pro contract when you were Southampton in 2017. Was it your 17th birthday?
It was, yeah, it was on my birthday, yeah.
Oh, what a birthday present that was. You made your pro against Huddersfield Town in the FA Cup in January 2020.
Yep.
And you scored the opening goal. But that was at 19 years old. That's an incredible achievement.
Yeah, no, it was a very fun day I look back on with very good memories. It was a long time coming, but yeah, it was very enjoyable.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that a bit later. But
Yeah.
then you made your Premier League debut against Aston Villa not long after that.
Yes.
In February 2020. You just turned 20 then.
Yeah, day after my
Day
birthday.
after? Yeah.
Yeah, it was day after.
Mad, absolutely mad. You went on loan to Stoke City in 2022 for a season-long loan, where you scored your first goal for Stoke against Preston North End in October 2022. Yeah, it's a bit of a mad couple of years, I bet, for you. But in the meantime, now you've got 127 pro appearances with 11 goals.
Yep.
Sound about
on your
right?
research, well, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah,
I tell you what, Wikipedia can tell you so many things.
Yeah, quick Google.
Well, yeah, I mean, in my world too, it's when it comes to stats, it's an unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
As I can imagine for you, it's one of those things. If anyone wants to find anything about you, it's just a click away.
Even if you want to find about yourself, you just search it like that.
Exactly. But just before I started the recording, you were just in Doha. Were you?
Yeah.
So just coming back from an injury. What did you injure?
My hamstring. So it's actually a re-injury. So I done my first injury in my hamstring just after I was playing for Ireland. So around September time.
Okay.
And then I done a 5-week rehab for that, and then played against I was on the bench and then came on against Leicester, and then re-injured in that game against Leicester. Same area of the hamstring. So I've then been out till now, and then went there for 2 weeks for this kind of like a specialist place over there, and I worked with Enda King, who's an Irish physio over there, who is one of the best in the business. So it was good to get away mentally, as I was saying to you before, and also very, very good facility and very good physios.
What actually goes down there though?
What, when we're out there?
Yeah.
It was quite intense, to be fair. It was so I'd start at about 8 o'clock and then come in and do a gym sort of physio based. I'm sure you'd know, like a physio kind of session in the morning, to say from like 8 till 10. Then I was on pitch carrying on my rehab from 10 till about 11:30. Then I'd come back in about 12 till 1, do another, maybe like a lowers or like another physio session, then have lunch and then work on upper body after that.
So your physio there, do they correspond with your physio at Saints?
Yeah. So they've been in contact from before I went there, obviously when I was there, and then now carrying on when I come back, they'll be in contact in getting me back on the pitch.
Okay, nice. And are you fully fit now, ready to go?
No, not just yet. Another few weeks, but not too far away. Hopefully, be a nice New Year's present to be back playing.
Well, yeah. Well, fingers crossed. I'll hold thumbs, and we'll obviously watch on. But just on the topic of injury, you've obviously experienced quite a bit of misfortune over the years. For someone obviously very young, it can't be a very easy thing to overcome. But how have you dealt with that?
Yeah, it's weird because, to be honest, up until just before my ACL, I hadn't actually been injured at all, really. Like through the academy, I'd always played almost every game, and every game that I was picked for, I'd play. I never had any big injuries as such. I was only ever out for like maybe a week or two with like a knock on my ankle or something like that. So then before my ACL, I had 2 small quad injuries after I'd been away with Ireland 21s, and then came back from them, and then went into the game against Leicester away, and then obviously tore my ACL, well, ruptured my ACL and my meniscus, partial tear on my meniscus. I had to get both of them repaired, and then yeah, mentally it's a big challenge, because you go from, obviously, as you all know, playing and not even thinking, I guess, about what it's like to be injured, and then honestly, I remember saying, like, overnight your world's like flipped upside down, because you go from being able to, play football, do what you want, to then, when after I've had my surgery, I couldn't weight bear for 6 weeks, so I can't do a lot for myself, which is quite mentally tough, from an athlete's point of view, where your whole life is outside and playing and training every day, being around loads of people, to them being quite isolated. And I think my family, my girlfriend, were very supportive in the mental side of that, which I think is maybe overlooked sometimes, as it being as important as obviously the physical rehabilitation of getting yourself back on the pitch.
Yeah, I think distractions away from the game is huge, especially when it comes to injuries.
Yeah,
because they can be really frustrating. And I mean, a few of my mates have done ACLs.
yeah,
It's a fickle one, because you can move your knee, can't you, in like a
yeah,
straight way. So you almost feel like, I'm fine, I can keep going.
yeah,
But it's that kind of lateral sideways movement that gets you, isn't it?
yeah. And then this is the thing. So I did it on the pitch, and then I got back up and tried to play on for like 2 minutes. And I remember I received like a throw in, and I like chested it and went to play it back. And like, as you said, like sideways, it's like I went to pull my knee back, and it was just like floppy. Like I just couldn't do it. So yeah, and then even the days after, like I was walking around, I remember I'd be in the pool and doing move, and I was almost thinking, as you say there, it's like I feel not fine, but like it's nowhere near as bad as what I'm being told it is. And then yeah, once you have the surgery, obviously you get set right back to the start.
It's like a 6-month rehab, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a long time. It took me 7 months, I think, to be back training, and then 8 to play him.
Wow. Well, I mean,
So yeah, it's a long time.
In that time, did you get any support?
Only at this time, only from my family and my girlfriend. And for me, at that point, that was enough, because they were very supportive, and I think they were exactly what I needed. As you alluded to there with like distractions, I think that was very important, to have almost distractions to obviously get me away from thinking about my injury, or thinking about how long I'm going to be out for. Because I'm sure you all know, like when you get an injury, well, my first thought is, when can I be back? And then if you get an injury like this, that is miles away from the where you are in the here and now. So you need to almost be distracted, so that the time will be shorter in your own mind.
So just on the topic of distractions, what other sort of distractions do you have away from the game?
Yeah, I like to play golf. To be fair, not so much in the weather as it is now. I'm a bit of a fair weather golfer, so I'll be out in the summer and when the weather's nice. I also like to, with my girlfriend, go go get a coffee, go into town, explore, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm busy doing these well-being chats with
Okay.
various teams, and yeah, that's a huge point of topic. How you get yourself away from the game. But
Yeah.
I love golf, but my golf career is
Nice.
somewhat dissipating, because I've got
Okay.
2 kids now, so managing
Yeah,
to
you
get
can't
into the
really
course. Yeah,
can't get an excuse.
exactly. But it's funny how you find those distractions and they become a part of you, and
Yeah.
how you utilize them is so important. And I mean, with your mum and your girlfriend, that's a solid base to have, and it's a great starting point. And you're very lucky to have that.
Yeah, no, I think it's important for anyone that they have, whoever that is in your own life, to have like a support network that you can turn to, and you can trust them in them giving you an honest opinion, or a supporting opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, you obviously play for the Republic of Ireland.
Yes.
Is there Is there any difference in terms of intensity there
From club
in terms
football?
of Premier League football compared to
Yeah,
international?
they are. It's fairly similar because obviously international football is like elite of the elite, and when you play against a top nation, it's very similar to like a Premier League game playing against a top team in the Premier League. I think the biggest difference is obviously the time that you spend with your teammates. Is that at club level, you're obviously working with them day to day, months of the year, like you're always with them, and you kind of know, and everyone knows what you're going to get from each other and what the overall team wants. I think the difference is when you go away, it's about obviously the whole team are going to have differences in how they play at club, and it's almost about trying to drop that as quick as you can and get focused on what Ireland want us to do. And I think that's the biggest and toughest thing, I think, is changing styles and going from 11 players playing different styles at their clubs to them trying to play the same style.
Do you get the time before a game or before a competition or before a friendly or anything
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, no, we will have a. It depends because a lot of the time at the minute we have quite short windows. So like the international window for us, the last two camps was only a week. It was like we played Thursday, Sunday, and then the last Premier League game could be on a Sunday. So people aren't training until like Tuesday. So you really only have one day with everyone on the pitch to like work on what you need before you're going into either traveling for the game on the Wednesday and then playing it on the Thursday,
Mm.
or even if you're at home training light on the Wednesday to then play on the Thursday. So it is tough, but I think the more I go and I'm involved, I think the better I'm getting at changing.
Mm. I mean, I don't know if you've Wikipedia'd me, but my career, I've obviously jumped around the country a little bit, but
Yeah,
so from Kent to Durham and now it's Somerset. But so I'm fairly interested in how you going on loan to Stoke. How did that, was that an easy move? Well, I say move,
yeah.
temporary move, but was that easy mentally or?
Do you know what? It was. I found it quite easy, but I think I was quite fortunate in the fact that I knew in the May before that I wanted to go on loan when the season ended. Like I knew for my career it was what I wanted to do. And then equally when I got there, I was very fortunate that, well, obviously when a manager brings you in, you hope that they're gonna play you. And the first manager that brought me in played me, and then he got sacked. But then when the new manager came in, he carried on playing me. So I had quite an easy. I got exactly what I wanted out of going on the loan, and that was playing games, staying fit, and just enjoying living away from and having a change. I think because,
Yeah.
as you said, there I'd been in the academy and only ever lived in the south, played for Southampton.
Mm.
It was a good. I want to say like experience for myself to like go and live somewhere else, be kind of not alone because my girlfriend came with me, but we're both away from our what the word is comfortable surroundings, I guess,
Yeah.
and then
Comfort zone, yeah.
yeah, from our comfort zone and experience something
Yeah,
different.
I love, so I've loved it. I mean, I love change. I mean,
Yeah, how do you deal with it?
well, who's interviewing who? Yeah, no, no, play. Coming from South Africa, it's
Yeah,
I made a massive life decision to come and play my cricket here in the UK, and I mean, obviously, it could have gone completely downhill if things didn't go as
yeah,
um, well, yeah,
how they have you.
how they did. But I love change. I really enjoyed the fact that you went from one team where there was certain expectation and they wanted something from you that you couldn't deliver, and you almost felt quite isolated in that sense,
Hmm.
to then moving to a club that kind of wants you. They
Yeah,
pump up your tires and make you feel good about yourself, and you can then express yourself how you want to express yourself, almost like from a clean slate. I see. Yeah, I've done it twice now, but I've really enjoyed that. I think it's quite enlightening.
yeah. No, I think it is. It's change is sometimes good.
What was it like coming back though to Southampton?
It was interesting because the year I went was actually the year that Southampton ended up getting relegated. So it was weird. From the club that I left to the club I came back to was two very, very different. two very different things. The club I left was obviously a very stable Premier League club with aspirations for, you know, pushing on. And then as I come back, it's almost, there's a lot of negativity around the place because obviously we've been relegated, that we're going into a new season in the second division. A lot of players don't know what they want to do. A lot of players want to leave but can't leave, and it was interesting. But I knew from when I came back that I wanted to stay and to play, and I think once I knew that in my mind straight away, I very much again enjoyed coming back because it was an exciting challenge that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, because you've been a big Southampton supporter since you were a boy, haven't you?
Yeah. So it's all I've ever known, really. Apart from that year at Stoke, it's been all through the academy and then playing for the first team.
What's it like though, changing managers ever so often? Do you develop like some good relationships with your managers to then kind of be swept from underneath you? What's that like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's as we were talking about, I guess it's like a change. It's like for some people it's unreal, just like if you're out of favour or whatever, it's a change, and then you get a clean slate where everyone gets a clean slate when a new manager comes in to push on. I think I haven't actually had too many managerial changes where it's been where I've had a massive connection with the manager, because I never had a change at Southampton before I went on loan. And then when I got to Stoke, I'd only worked with the manager that signed me, Michael O'Neill. He was only there for about 5 games, I think it was. So I didn't really build that proper relationship with him. So it's interesting. But when a manager changes, I'm not sure what it's like for you, but it's like everyone kind of almost raises their levels by like 10-15%, which is crazy when you think about it, because why would you not do that before? But
why you're not 100% before?
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's just change sometimes elevates you to be the best version of yourself.
Well, I guess managers will kind of know what they're dealing with beforehand, but even still, there's going to be that element of what if, or what's he like, or is he as good as he says he is, or is he as good as he is on paper? And then, you tend to probably elevate yourself by that 10 to 15% to almost prove that in a way, because you want to play, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think when a new manager comes in, I think first impressions, like in any walk of life, are always key. So I think everyone wants to give the best version of themselves when a new manager comes in.
So you're obviously now an ambassador for alopecia, but
yeah,
can you delve a little bit into how that experience was for you?
Yeah, that was obviously a very tough time of my life, because it was at the same point that I'd done my ACL. So it was I was out injured with my ACL, and then dealing with alopecia alongside. That was very, very tough. I have to say, I have to thank, I guess, my girlfriend a lot for the support that she gave me, and a lot of confidence that she gave me back into myself to, I guess, deal with it, I guess is the right word, or to live with it. And I think the more I've come to terms with what it actually is, then the more I've wanted to try and help other people that are in a situation of a similar place. And with the profile of what I have, I feel like I can bring awareness to, something that even myself before I didn't really know too much about. And now it's obviously impacted me massively. I really feel passionate about it to try and help people in the best way I can.
How have you gone about that?
Just getting involved with the alopecia UK, and I tried to do well, as I did last year, try and get a mascot to a game for around Christmas time. But this year, obviously, I'm injured, so I was probably going to be a bit later in the year, which was very nice last year to have the girl down for that.
What your teammates around that, were they really supportive? How were they around you?
Yeah, do you know what they were? It was strange because no one ever really mentioned it. I feel like, which was almost in a way is what I would have wanted, because if I'd have had, as you know, like in change rooms, you don't want people asking you too much about like, oh, like are you okay, or like what's going on as such, if you know what I mean.
You're still the same person, you're still the same player.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's really changed. Obviously, physically, it's changed, but
Yeah,
like it's
I loved your one comment of like new season, new haircuts. Like
yeah.
I thought it was a great icebreaker. Like, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm about.
Exactly. And it was tough for me because it was like, it was COVID, the second wave of COVID, I think.
Mm.
So like people weren't at the games, and like obviously I was injured, so I wasn't playing. So like it was something that was very much done in silence. So I was very much anxious about returning. One, for obviously my knee and my injury, but two, for obviously that's a massive change to like go from playing in the January with like full head of hair to then coming back in October, September with like no hair and try and not even like mentioned it like in between. So I think that for me was just like kind of getting out there. Everyone can, you know, have their opinion or whatever, but it's just that everyone knew about it before I came back.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually had to deal with that also following
Okay.
COVID. So I mean, it's there's loads of pressure, loads of stress. I mean, he was very unfortunate to be in a situation where he was kind of locked up
Yeah.
in his room with no one around, and obviously when lockdown hit, he just he couldn't get out, and so I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of looked into it then, and I mean, it's obviously something really important to understand, especially younger players who have to deal with it. But I mean, I just want to thank you very much for your honesty, and
Okay.
it's something that we as onlookers and supporters see, and we see the confidence radiate off you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you very much. It's obviously something that if you'd asked me this maybe just after it had happened, I wouldn't feel as open to be able to talk about it as I am now, which I can only thank the people around me and my support network in helping me build confidence back up, and then to be at the point where I'm able to speak about it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche thing, but it's like by talking about it, you're dealing with it. And
Yeah,
I
100%.
think, if there's any young sportsmen, who are dealing with their own sort of mental struggles,
Hmm.
that's kind of where I come in with my sports psychology stuff. And I'm a massive advocate for it. And I've always been really passionate about it. But like, I've dealt with generalized anxiety and my kind of relationship with anxiety, and a lot of people now will watch me play and see the kind of confidence, if you want to call it that, from a pressure situation and how that's developed. But that's not something that just happens. That's something that you work through, and you open up about to be able to deal with it. So I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, just being able to talk about it is pretty important.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Um, how do you deal with social media pressure? Because I mean, obviously at your level and your standard, it's everyone's got a voice, and
Yeah, yeah.
there's millions and millions and millions, probably, well, actually probably billions around the globe that are watching and supporting and feel the need to comment. But how do you deal with that?
I think everyone probably deals with it differently. I think when you first are coming through, as I was like, when you first break through, normally because you stay there, everything's kind of gone quite well. So like at the start, I'd very much look into like what people are saying, or like how people are thinking I'm doing, and I actually quite enjoyed looking at it because obviously at the start everything's going really well, and then as time goes on, obviously people have opinions, and that is life. I've no problem with people having opinions. It's just, as you say, everyone can so easily just get their opinion out on social media. So the way for how I deal with it is just I actually came off of Twitter. I think it's X now, is it?
Yeah,
And I actually saw a much better performance in myself, because I think mentally I was in a better place going into games of not worrying about outside noise as such,
yeah,
and just being much more focused on my own performance, and that I saw a very big increase in my own performance.
yeah. I go through phases where I'll just like delete Instagram, delete.
Yeah,
I still have an X account, but I don't
yeah,
have the app on my phone anymore.
Yeah.
I just turn notifications off. But I was having a chat with one of my cricket mates or mentors, if you want to call it that. And I mean, he alluded to how he, just switches off notifications, and it's just like,
Okay.
I've also not notifications. He switches off the people he doesn't follow, so
Okay.
they can't miss. I think you do the same thing, so you can't.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I realized that when I try to message you, just
Yeah. Apologies
straight
there.
back at me, which I've never ever thought of doing. But I
Yeah.
guess I'm not really at the same level where I get a lot of those. I mean, I get a lot of hate messages
Yeah.
from more like Indian pundits
Okay.
after I've either won a game
Yeah.
or done something to lose a game, and they've
Mm.
lost a bit of money. And it's
Okay.
just like, I laugh at them so much. But I guess, like you said, everyone deals with it completely differently. But um, how I see the kind of personal messages from those who you think are supporters, those are the ones that kind of hit me a bit deeper. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess being able to deal with it in your own way is really important.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think as you said there, I turned off people being able to message me because I think after it, as you said as well, it's so easy for people to just give you their opinion, whether you want to see it or not. And I think that's something like I don't have a problem with people if they want to give like a football opinion because everyone has their own opinion on everything. But when it becomes too personal, I think it's just as much as you say it might not affect you deep down. I think if you keep seeing it every day, it's gonna make you feel a negative sort of way.
Yeah. What's it like? I'm just going to jump to a bit of pressure talk, if you don't mind. But
That's okay.
what's it like playing in front of that number of people?
Yeah, it's strange. It's very exciting is the way I describe it.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing better, I think, than playing in front of like a big crowd and a big atmosphere. I think especially both ways, when it's in your favor and when it's against your favor, they're both as rewarding. From my experiences, we've had some big games at St Mary's where the atmosphere has been unbelievable, and I think that brings out an extra level in yourself. As I was saying with like a new manager, I think with like a really really good atmosphere, it just raises your I don't know alertness, your level in a way that playing in front of a lesser crowd, which it shouldn't, but it just subconsciously it does.
Do you know what the highest number of fan count or the highest fan count has been?
That I've played in front of,
Yeah.
yeah, roughly. We played Wembley in the playoff final. That was I don't know, 89,000, something like that.
Mine, I think, is what, 23 or 24.
Yeah,
And like, even then, do you get like the hum from the crowd?
yeah. Just like the like murmur, everyone
Yeah,
like
the little
talking,
little
or
murmur.
yeah,
It's a lot different from ground that well, when we go from ground to ground, it changes a lot, which really fascinates me how that happens. But yeah, I mean, obviously playing in front of, well, 23 to 24,000 people is a lot different to playing in front of 89, 90,000 people. But
yeah,
what's it like stepping up for, like, I don't know, a free kick or a penalty? I mean, in that situation, what?
yeah. It's obviously high pressure is the best way to put it, I think, and it's hard. I think the pressure's always more before the game, I think, than when you're actually in the game. I feel like once I cross over the white line as such, and the referee blows his whistle, and you get your first touch in the game. I feel like it kind of falls into being another game of football.
Hmm.
And then I think once you get into a situation like that, it's almost like you've practiced it probably so many times, like in training in your whole life, really. That I feel like you're at a stage where you're okay with the pressure. I haven't had any massive pressure penalties or anything like that. But I can imagine, obviously, like a World Cup final penalty must just be unbelievable pressure for the player that's putting himself through that.
What goes through your head though?
I don't know. I think you obviously that probably comes down to your own mentality. I think if you let outside noise come in, then it's going to be even harder. I think to score the penalty. I think in that point you have to be so narrowly focused and narrowly minded in just purely making it a penalty, you against a goalkeeper, and making that all you think about. You can't start thinking about what happens if I do this, what happens if I do that. Because I think once you start doing that, you almost set yourself up to miss.
Do you use like any techniques, any like focusing techniques, anything like that?
Not massively, no. Just maybe we've done a lot of, well, I done quite a lot of mindfulness when I was in the academy. It was something that they pushed quite a lot, and like visualization, I think, where maybe the night before, like I'm thinking before I go to bed, maybe a scenario that I might find myself in tomorrow, so that I don't know if it makes me more at ease in the game, but it's just like if I visualize myself, I don't know, making a running behind and scoring, and then it happens in the game, it's almost like when I get to that point, I've already been in that point because I've seen it the day before.
Visualizing it just becomes a lot easier, doesn't it? Because it's happened.
Yeah.
I like the mindfulness part of it. So I've worked with a few clients now that I've kind of introduced mindfulness to, and it's something that through this whole process of mine, I've started to introduce into my own game. And
Okay.
I mean, there's a massive misconception around mindfulness, obviously being like almost quite misleading towards meditation
Yeah.
and kind of, you know, peace and tranquil, and it's
Uh-huh.
actually far beyond that, which is really interesting, and how you make yourself more present. You just bring your self-awareness into the moment that you're in, which is really important. But I mean, that's insightful. You kind of like stepping up, taking these free kicks, penalties, all that kind of stuff, and being able to kind of make yourself more present. It's really interesting. I mean, that in some way, shape, or form creates you as a person, and I think it shapes you more in depth, if you want to put it that way. But with regards to your own mental health and your own kind of well-being, what is there anything else that you focus on, or is there anything that you do outside the game, maybe that you
I speak to, I don't know if you might know him, Jamie Edwards. At times, he is like I guess a mindfulness or a mind coach in a way. And I speak to him, and a lot of getting my thoughts out of my head and onto paper, but my iPad, I guess, like stacking and like almost journaling, I guess, is the way to put it, in a sense of getting things out of my head onto paper makes me feel better in a way. It's almost like a release from having it all just cramped in my head.
yeah, it's known as cognitive diffusion,
Okay.
which is, yeah, it's basically you're diffusing the thoughts by means of almost making them like real. So you put
Yeah.
them down onto paper, makes you see them for what they are, and makes you realize that actually they're only thoughts, they're not facts.
Yeah, 100%. I think that I found that very useful because in a way I would have never done that ever before. And then when I've started doing it, I feel like almost, I don't know, for example, say if I'm feeling annoyed for something that's happened at football, and then I get it out of my head onto paper, and then I think, why am I actually feeling annoyed? This, or this hasn't happened. It's only I'm making up a scenario in my head that's happened or is going to happen. And then when I put it down and see it as the cold facts, I'm much more at ease and feel much less pressure, I guess, in my head.
Exactly. And being in that situation, you're almost made, well, you're able to
Yeah, yeah, that's
reset,
a good
and
word to use. I think is to like reset is when I get everything pouring out of my head.
yeah, exactly. Just to elaborate on that, so you obviously just spoke about working with someone who's, you know, a bit more of like a mental coach, if you want to call it that. But do you have any mentors? Do you have anyone that you kind of lean on, speak to, or just enjoy just kind of a bit of downtime with?
My girlfriend would be someone who obviously we live together and I see her obviously every day. I feel like I would express or vent any feelings to her, and she is very good in listening and helping me with creating a solution to the problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's obviously something that not all athletes do. And I mean, that's kind of why I'm asking the question, I guess.
Do you use anyone as a mentor or as like a?
So I mean, I'm someone who's very kind of extroverted, vocal, and
Okay.
if something isn't kind of sitting right with me, I want to get it off my chest. And for me, I'll chat to my parents, best mates, or I'll actively seek some ex players or coaches that I worked really well with in the past who can just kind of put me on the straight and narrow or give me the bit of advice that I need moving forward. Great example for me was an ex-coach that I worked with. I really trusted him, but I was able to give him a call a day before what ended up being one of the best days of my life. But whether it was because of that or not, you won't really know. But yeah, I'm a big advocate for it. But it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I guess it also depends on you as a player and an individual, I guess.
Yeah, no, I never really thought about it too much. I guess in a similar way, I guess I probably will vent to my friends, to my girlfriend, and they will give me advice, but maybe not as to the extent of what you have as like a coach or like an ex-coach that is someone that you really, really trust and value their opinion of.
Mm-hmm. Finally, I just wanted to raise a point of view. Obviously, winning the Saints Young Player of the Year award back in 2020, was it?
Yes.
Have you got any kind of aspirations? I mean, obviously, we all as psychologists speak about goals and values and the works, but what's the word for it? What's the kind of aspiration and goal for you in the not so near future?
I'd love to play at a World Cup with Ireland, is obviously a big goal of mine. And also I really, really want to play in the Premier League for as long as possible. And I think if I could get to 100 Premier League games for myself, I think that would be a very big milestone I could look back and see that I've had like a very established 100 games in a league as opposed to just dipping in and out of the league.
Well, I mean, the fact that you've played 127 games already is huge. Obviously, not all in the Premier League. That's that's fine. But I mean, that in itself is really, really impressive, and you should something that you should be really proud of, and your mum and girlfriend are probably exceptionally proud of that. But yeah, again, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you.
It's really insightful, and it's been a massive pleasure to be able to speak to you.
No, thank you for inviting me on and having the time with me.